Well, the role of a caregiver is not an easy one, and many of us are taking care of children and aging parents. Well, with us today to share more about the growing issue are Marvell Adams Jr., Chief Executive Officer of the Caregiver Action Network, and Judy Krieg, who has been a caregiver for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely. Well, Marvell, let's begin with you. We know that there are thousands of caregivers out there and here in Colorado. Talk about the number of caregivers in the U.S. and the impact that it has.
Yeah, and so it's an astonishing statistic that there's over 100 million caregivers across our country, and so as you might imagine, the impact on the U.S. is tremendous, but also the impact on individual caregivers. And so caregivers serve as the backbone of our care system, and they feel the weight of that commitment every single day. So whether it's the impact upon them of taking time off from work to take someone to the doctor's office, advocating in the emergency room, or just making sure that medications are taken on time, caregivers are showing up each and every day. And so Caregiver Action Network, our role and responsibility is really to show up for those caregivers so that they can be supported and have the resources they need.
And that's really wonderful because you're right, there is a lot of work that goes into it. Now, Judy, first of all, I just want to say thank you for sharing your experience with our viewers today. And what has it been like for you, and how long have you been a caregiver?
Well, I actually became the primary caregiver for my mom and dad around the same time. And my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia, and my dad had vascular dementia. So it was physically and emotionally challenging at times getting them to their doctor's appointments, managing their medications and their bills, and just trying to make sure they were eating properly. But what made it even harder was that my mom was starting to show signs of agitation associated with Alzheimer's disease. So she was extremely irritable and combative. She was swearing a lot and hoarding, and she wouldn't let me help her clean or sort the mail or anything like that. And then she began to threaten suicide. And then after that, she would talk about over and over again how she wished she never would have been born. So it was emotionally draining.
Oh, I can imagine. And I commend you for the work that you've done. And of course, when it comes to parents, I mean, that's so close to the heart. Now, Marvell, what is the I Care campaign and the goals that you have for it?
Yeah, and so each November, Caregiver Action Network sets the theme and leads the charge for National Family Caregivers Month. And so this year is no different in that that theme is I Care, which is really an effort to amplify and raise awareness about self-identification for caregivers, because over half the individuals across this country that take on some sort of caregiving responsibility or duty don't recognize themselves as a caregiver. You know, they see themselves as a loving son or a dutiful spouse. And so, you know, as we talk about our campaign and understanding that, you know, as self-recognition, I was a caregiving youth at the age of 13 and my mom had a stroke. And so I didn't recognize that I was a caregiver until I came to work for Caregiver Action Network many years later. And so self-recognition is a big part of why we are amplifying this message this month, because the first step in being able to seek out resources and help is first identifying as a caregiver.
You know, you bring up a very valid point that self-recognition should be done at all times because you're doing incredible work. Now, Judy, when it comes to caregiving, I think we all learn as we go, but what are some things that you wish you knew sooner?
I wish I would have taken the time to ask my mom's doctor more questions about mom's behavior. We could have gotten help sooner. And I also encourage others to join local support groups. I did not do that. I felt isolated. And I know from going to support groups that it can be really therapeutic to talk with other folks that are in a similar situation. So at the end of the day, just know that it's helpful to know that I was not alone on my journey. I didn't have to be.
Yeah, those are powerful words there. And thank you so much for sharing with us this morning. And Marvell, where can our viewers turn for more info and some guidance?
We encourage any caregiver or anyone just looking for information on caregiving to either reach out to us for free at 855-CARE-640 or find resources and support caregiveraction.org.
I want to thank you both for being with us this morning. Great info. Thank you. Okay, everyone, if you would like more information and to learn more about the I Care campaign, visit this website, caregiveraction.org.